In this video, we're going to be going over the anatomy of a cue. So what is a cue? The cue is the stick in which you hit the cue ball with and is composed of many different parts, all of which are vital to your game. And today we're going to talk about what makes a cue and why they are important. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first part of your cue is going to be the tip. The tip is, as you would expect, the part of the cue in which you actually make contact with the cue ball. Pool cue tips vary in sizes and hardness, typically varying from soft to phenolic. A phenolic tip is made of phenolic resin and is the hardest out there, and is typically used for jump, break, and jump break cues. Look out if you buy a break cue with a phenolic tip, as they can be banned at a lot of places such as bars and pool halls, so know the rules for your playing establishment. The softer a tip is, the more spin you will put on the cue ball, and the harder the tip is, the less spin you will put on the cue ball. Different players prefer different tip hardnesses, so find one that's right for you. And always be sure to chalk your tip to prevent miscues. Immediately under the tip, you're going to get the ferrule. The ferrule is the piece immediately under the tip that secures the tip to the shaft. These are typically made with fiberglass or phenolic resin. The next part of your pool cue is going to be the shaft. The shaft of the pool cue is a very delicate and vital part of your cue. They come in various tapers such as European tapers and pro tapers. You always want to play with as straight a cue as possible, and a good rule of thumb for finding out how straight your pool cue is to lay it down on a table and roll it. The straighter the cue, the less wobble there is. If it is warped, it will bounce around and wobble. As you can see, the black pool cue is pretty darn straight. However, this pool cue is pretty warped. In multiple pieced cues, you have what's called the joint. The joint is the part in which pieces screw in together. Common styles of joints include unilock, quick release, radial, and also measured ones such as 5/16 by 14, 3/8 by 10, and so on and so forth. When Q-split joints are not in use, you should disassemble them and put joint protectors on. That way you don't get dust, dirt, or lint in your joint. You also want to keep them in a padded case to prevent warpage. The next part of the cue, you're going to have the butt. The butt of the cue is the back half of the cue and is typically where all of the weight is. This is also where most of your design is, so choose wisely. Many players have what is known as a wrap on their cues. What a wrap is it's a grip on the butt of a cue. However, not all cues have wraps, and those are known as wrapless cues. Types of wraps vary, but common styles are Irish linen, rubber, and leather. I play with wrapless cues and unfortunately do not own one, but here's what some look like. Play around with some wrapped and wrapless cues and find one best for you and your style. Next up, we have the weight bolt. Inside the butt of the cue is a weight bolt, which, as you would expect, is where the overall weight of the cue is determined. Most cues will vary about 18 to 21 ounces, and they will vary by half-ounce increments. The heavier the cue, the more power and acceleration you are going to hit the cue ball with. The lighter the cue, the more finesse you will hit the cue ball with. Experiment with weights and find one that is best for you and your playing style. Finally, at the very end of the cue, completely opposite the tip, is the bumper. This covers the weight bolt and seals the deal. It also helps to prevent against damaging the underside of the butt of the cue. So what types of cues are out there? There are lots of different pool cue designs and types out there. What a cue made of varies greatly. There are graphite cues like my very first pool cue, which I got from Walmart. There are bird's eye maple cues, such as my Lucasi playing cue, and my J&J jump break cue. There's hardwood like this house cue, and many others like carbon fiber cues, a newer style of cue that is shaking up the world of billiards. There are hard rock maple cues, jump and masse cues, and the list goes on. Styles are also extremely varied, so there's lots to choose from. That's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.